Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. We're still going through Ether Drift Legends today, and we've gone mono today because we've gone with the Speed Demon. 3 double black for a 5/5 demon, flying and trample, standard kind of demon things. Has start your engines though, and when at the beginning of your end step you draw X cards and lose X life, where X is your speed. So the turn you play this, assuming you don't get any other damage in, you're going to be getting 1 card and losing 1 life, or maybe 2 cards and losing 2 life, and then it just goes up and up and up till you hit max speed of 4. So at the end of beginning of each end step from there on in, you're losing 4, drawing 4. That's all well and good, but you really need to make sure your life total stays high, because it doesn't take long to start losing your life when you're drawing cards. So yeah, we've gone with a bit of a fun mono black deck, I think, is today. So here we go. Here's what today's deck looks like. As you can probably tell from the first card, which is Child of Night, for lifelink 2/1 vampire, we're going to have a lot of lifelink creatures in here today to make sure we can keep our life total going up and up and up, so we can keep drawing the cards and not worry too much about Speed Demon's downside of drawing the cards and losing life. So Child of Night's the first one, followed by Gifted Aetherborn, a card you don't usually see in Commander, but since we're playing a monocolour deck, double black isn't that much of an issue for us. Tenacious Underdog also comes in, just so we can have a bit of blitz fun in games with it, paying the 2 life to get it back if we need to. And then we can cast it from our graveyard when it gets there. Even if we end up discarding it for some random reason, we can still use it and go back with it. Aria, First of Lockrain, is also in as well, because we are playing loads of black creatures, so we might as well drain everyone in game 1 every time we play one. Ghastly Raider comes in from Ether's Drift as well. Another one with start your engines, and when this creature enters, target opponent reveals their hand. You can get them to discard an instant or sorcery. And then when we have max speed on this one, we do get +1/+1 and menace, so can be good. Gumdrop Poisoner gives us a food token, which helps us bump up our life total, obviously, and then with lifelink as well. And then when it comes into play, target creature gets -X/-X, where X is the amount of life we've gained this turn, which we should be able to gain at least 2 a turn, I'm hoping, with this deck, minimum. Liliana, Heretical Healer, has lifelink, and then when another non-token creature we can have dies, we can just exile it and flip her and turn into the Defiant Necromancer. So another way of just getting some extra value. Murderous Rider, bit of targeted removal. We lose a couple of life when we do it, but when we play it from the Adventure Land or Exile Zone, we get a 2/3 life linker that when it dies goes to the bottom of our library instead of the graveyard, unless there's some way of things not going to the graveyard. Leyline of the Void, I'm looking at you, rest in peace, etc. Preacher of Sijum also comes in, has Death Touch, and when it attacks the player with the most life, we get a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink, so little bit of token generation. And then whenever it attacks, while you have the most life or are tied for the most life, we get to draw a card and lose a life. So card draws keeping going with this deck. Shakedown Heavy is just fun. 3 mana for 6/4 with menace, and then defending player may let you draw a card, and if they do, we untap the Shakedown Heavy and remove it from the combat. So you've always got a good blocker most of the time, because most people go, no, I'm not taking 6, we'll just let you have your card and untap it and remove it. So yeah, cope with that. Tabarex, Hope's Demise. Hopefully we'll get the 5/+1/+1 counters on it to give it lifelink. And it should be quite forward with the creatures, non-token creatures we have that are probably going to die quite readily, to pump this up a little bit as things go along. Unstoppable Slash is just painful for people from Duskmourn. It deals combat damage to a player. They lose half their life rounded up. And then it just keeps coming back, really, unless someone exiles it. So, yay. Vampire Nighthawk, old school, flying, Death Touch, lifelink. We had to do the Veto Thorn of Dusk Rose in here. Gain the life. Target opponent loses. Target opponent loses that much life. Yeah, and it gives us a way of giving all of our creatures lifelink if we need it to. But you know why it's here. The Bloodletter of Alcazotza is also in. Where if an opponent would lose life during your turn, they lose twice that much life instead. Okay then. Eradicator Vampire Valkyrie is in. Flying, lifelink, hexproof from Planeswalkers. Not many Planeswalkers. There's not many Planeswalkers, I should say, seen play in Commander at the moment. But the flying and lifelink, and then the boast ability if we need it to. We can sack one of our creatures off, so make everyone else sack a creature or Planeswalker. Isn't irrelevant, to be fair. Camber, the Plunderer, has lifelink, and whenever a creature dies, we gain a life and create a blood token. I can cope with that. Obviously his partner's not here because we've got no red in the deck. Rooftop Assassin, flying lifelink, and when it enters we get to destroy target creature an opponent controls that's dealt damage this turn. So a little bit of semi-removal, bit expensive, but has got flying and lifelink, hence why it's here. Alcazalta, the Deepest Betrayal's also in. Flying and lifelink 4/4, flips into a land when it gets killed off, and then, you know, at the end of the day we get bats occasionally. Yeah, cope with that. Archpriest of Shadows is in for the Death Touch ability, and I do like the backup ability of this one to get something back from our graveyard, hence why it's here today. Bloodthirsty Conqueror makes an appearance from Foundations, flying and Death Touch, and whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. Yeah. Anyway, Cavalier of Night, lifelink, enters the battlefield, we sack a creature off and destroy someone else's creature, and then when it dies we get to return a target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. Lovely thing to do is to sack off something like Child of the Night or the Tenacious Underdog and just have it come back in a cheap way. Direfleet Ravager, because, you know, let's make everybody lose a third of their life when the Menace and Death Touch just makes life complicated for everybody. Had to play the Overlord again of the Balemark, just so we can mill the stuff and return things to our hand. The impending cost is reasonable in this deck. Streaking Oil Gorger comes in from the new set Ether Drift. Flying and haste and start your engines. Hopefully we'll have max speed to have this as lifelink. It's expensive at 5 mana for a 3/3, but it is flying and it is haste. And technically it does help us get to the top of the max speed thing quicker, so we'll see. Obviously, we're playing a black deck, so Grave Titans here. I'm not going to talk about it. You all know what it does. Likewise, Kukushiko, the Evening Star. You all know what happens with this when this dies when you've still got 3 opponents. Massacre Worm just keeps everything under control and gives another way of making people lose life as their creatures die. Noxious Gearhulk is another one that can come into play and destroy something, and we gain some life that way. The Haunt of Hightower is old school. I don't play it that often, but I do like it when I do it. So when defender attacks, defending player discards a card. And whenever a card is put in an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on the Hightower. So the turn after you play this, it probably attacks. It becomes a 4/4. You gain 4 life. Maybe it gets killed. Maybe it doesn't. But it's got to be worth a try, hasn't it? Wormcoil is Wormcoil. Sheldred is Sheldred. And just to top it all off at the top end, Valgavoth had to be in the deck as well, just for the fact that it will annoy everybody in sight. Spells, not too many. Risky Shortcut, draw 2 cards, each player loses 2 life. Now I have won limited games by being on 3 life, my opponent being on 2 life and casting this, so yeah, I still think it has fun in this deck, so it's here. The Scales of Shale are also in. Target creature gets +2/+0 and lifelink and indestructibility end of turn. So that is a nice little combat trick from Bloomborough. Damnation for board control. Gix's Command to chuck around some +1/+1 counters and give something a lifelink for a turn. And then return 2 creature cards from our graveyard to our hand most of the time. Sometimes we do get each opponent sacrifice a creature they control their highest power. So, you know, see what you need at the time, but definitely the first one, then one of the other 2. Destroy each creature with power 2 or less can be played occasionally, but it's getting a bit more complicated to play that in Commander nowadays with everything that's going on. Unbreakable Bond, just so I can return something and have a lifelink counter on it. That's fine for 5 mana. Blood Moon, Blood Money, Blood Moon? No, wrong card. Blood Money is here just so we can basically blow the board up if we need to and then get treasure tokens for everything. And because I'm in mono black, I had to play Rise of the Dark Realms. I'm still going to make this card work one day and win for me, but it's here again, so we'll try it out again. Artifacts, we have a lot of ramp. Tantalite, Talisman, and then we have a few bits of equipment. So Basilisk Collar to give a creature that hasn't got lifelink, and Death Touch. The Grim Baubles here, just for a little bit of giving targeted removal to small stuff in the early game, and then a little bit of surveilling when we need to. Sol Ring, Arcane Signet, Charcoal Diamond, Fellwild Stone, a Hero's Ramp. Fellwild Stone, I know the chance of you getting someone playing black or remote, but it's just another 2 mana accelerant from my point of view for this deck, which is what we need. Jet Medallion to cut the cost down, Mind Vessel, Thought Vessel for more ramp. Heraldic Banner comes in because we can just go, let's choose black and pump all our creatures a little bit, which helps with the life gain. The other bit of equipment, Loxodon Warhammer, because who doesn't want to give our creatures +3/+0 lifelink and trample. It's very nice you put it on the Speed Demon, I know that much. Nyx Lotus for some more ramp, because we'll obviously be playing black, so our devotion will be high. And the Throne of Eldraine. Choose the colour, which will be black. 5 mana. Basically, this costs you 1 mana on the turn you play it if you've got other things you can play for monocolour, so yay, go with that. Few enchantments, not too many. Momentum Breaker, because it's start the engines again, and it also it makes everyone sacrifice a creature or a vehicle, well, each opponent anyway, and each opponent who can't do this then has to discard a card. But I do like the fact that you can sacrifice this enchantment and gain life equal to your speed. So if you're drawing 4 at the end of your turn with Speed Demon, you can sack this off and gain 4, so you basically end up with 4 cards for no life loss. Meat Hook Massacre makes an appearance again to help us out with life gain and getting rid of dealing damage to our opponents when our creatures die. Same with Bastion Remembrance. No Mercy helps that out. Whenever a creature deals damage to you, destroy it. Fine. The Whip of Erebos is a bit of fun, just to make sure all of our creatures have lifelink if we get this into play. Exquisite Blood is here along with Sanguine Bond. I had to play the combo. We are in a mono black life gain deck, so they are both here. Are they what the deck's focused around? No, but you had to have them both in just to make sure you had the opportunity to do it. And then Revel in Riches to give us another way of generating treasures and maybe a potential way to win the game if we need a backup. And Virtue of Persistent, another targeted removal, gain a couple of life, and then do the whole Let's Nick creatures from graveyards when it goes off. Lands, very, very simple today. I am playing all 3 raceways, just to be clear, so I do want to make sure I'm hitting max speed as soon as possible for the Speed Demon when we get around to casting it, so they are all here. And then we have both versions of the Cabals, Cabal Coffers and Cabal Stronghold to help us out. Maestros Theatre to go and find a swamp and gain us a little bit of life, along with Obscura Storefront to do the same, and Riveteer's Outlook. Then we have the Night Market, because I just wanted another way of having some card draw in the deck, and cycling seemed like a good one. And if push comes to shove, we can just play this in name black. I've got no issue with it at all. Beyond that, Nykthos is in to give us more mana, and then we've got 24 swamps plus an Urborg if we really do need it, and that's it. That's how I'm going to be playing my Speed Demon deck. Still not quite sure the day in the Speed Demon, but hey, I think the card's good fun. It's nice to see a new mono black demon for a change. Well, I know we get one every set as a rule at the moment, but this one's quite nice. It's on curve. It's nice mana value for the power and toughness you get, so I'm quite happy with it. So that's it for today. If you liked the video and you aren't already subscribed, please subscribe down below. Really appreciate it. There's 616 of us now, so we're building up quite nicely. And thank you to all the people who have subscribed recently. I do appreciate it most wholeheartedly. If you can also want to see me play this deck, there's a link down below to Twitch. You can come and give me a follow over there and come and see me play the decks when I play them on stream on MTGO. But for now, as usual, leave the comments. I will respond, and hopefully I'll see you very soon for the next video. Have a great day. Bye.